The genetics of mental health. The genetics of mental health, how genes influence our mental health. Hello, hope your day was fulfilling. If not, tomorrow is another day. Mental health is an umbrella term used to describe our emotional, psychological, and mental well-being. Our mental health impacts how we think, feel, and act. People with good mental health are able to cope with stress, handle difficult situations, and function day to day. Our mental health fluctuates based on the circumstances of our life. However, some people experience a more persistent decline in their mental health that interferes with their day-to-day life. Mental illness can be caused by genetics, biology, or environmental factors that may include stressful life events and problems during childhood. The study of genes and how they influence our lives is called genetics. Genes are small segments of code within the DNA of each cell in our body called genomes. Each genome has many genes which help our body perform certain functions like creating proteins or growing hair. Some genes are dominant while others are recessive, meaning they either express themselves completely or not at all depending on which version you have inherited from your parents, e.g. dominant versus recessive. Learning about the genetics of mental health can help you understand why some people struggle with their emotions or behavior more so than others. In today's video, we'll be talking about mental health and genetics. People with mental health problem might be different from those who have never faced it. And, of course, there is a wide spectrum for different people. In some countries, not enough attention is paid to this matter, and that's why I have decided to start this video series especially for the next 10 days leading up to the World Mental Health Awareness Day. Genetics can explain why some people experience mental health issues more than others. Learning about the genetics of mental health can help you understand how genes influence mental health and help you find the right treatment for your mental health. Genetics can also explain why some people experience mental health issues more than others. Genetics can influence how genes are expressed in a person's body, and it is likely that some genes will be expressed more in one group than another. Genetic predisposition to develop certain diseases or disorders may also be influenced by environmental factors such as diet, stress, and exercise. Genetics can also explain why certain behaviors, such as eating or drinking, are associated with certain mental health illnesses. For instance, obesity is associated with both depression and bipolar disorder, but there is little evidence that obesity causes depression or bipolar disorder. The same may be true for other psychiatric disorders such as schizophrenia and addiction to alcohol or drugs. Understanding genes that influence behavior can help you understand the causes of your own mental illness so that you can make a better choice about which treatment options to try first when it comes to treating your depression or bipolar disorder if it's affecting your life negatively enough to warrant an evaluation by a psychiatrist or psychologist. What are the genes involved in mental health? There are many genes involved in our mental health. Genes that are important for brain development and function include BDNF, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor gene works to create new neurons and protect existing neurons in the brain. Variations in this gene are associated with drug addiction, anxiety, depression, and PTSD. MITF, the melanoma inhibitory activity gene produces a protein that helps keep neurons healthy. People with variations in their MITF gene may experience depression, anxiety, or hallucinations. SCN9A, the sodium channel gene is involved in sending electrical signals in the brain. People with variations in this gene may experience bipolar disorder, anxiety, or strong emotions. SERT, the serotonin transporter gene, which creates the serotonin reuptake transporter protein, functions as a type of SOC that removes serotonin from the synapses of the brain. People with variations in the SERT gene may experience mood disorders, anxiety, or OCD. Depression and anxiety. The gene known as 5-HTTLPR has been associated with depression and anxiety. This gene creates a protein that influences the reuptake of the neurotransmitters serotonin and dopamine in the brain. People with variations in this gene may experience mood disorders, anxiety, or OCD. Other genes related to anxiety include GABA and COMT. Bipolar disorder may be associated with the genes GRM3, GRIG2, and GABA3. Schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. People with variations in the DISC1 gene are more prone to developing schizophrenia. This gene controls the release of dopamine and regulates movement in the brain. The DRD2 gene controls the release of dopamine and may be associated with risk for bipolar disorder. The MAOA gene regulates the amount of serotonin in the brain. A variation in this gene may be associated with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. People with a family history of hypertension and diabetes should look out for their mental health. Learning about your genes can help you find the right treatment. Genetics can explain why some people experience mental health issues more than others. Identifying the specific genes that are involved in your mental health can help you learn about the best treatment methods for you. For example, if you have a variation in the SERT gene related to depression, you may want to consider antioxidants in your nutrition as part of the treatment since this is the gene that they target in the brain. You can talk to a genetic counselor or mental health professional to help you find out which genes you have and what that means for your mental health. In conclusion, genetics can tell us a lot about how the brain works and why some people are more likely to develop mental health issues than others. For example, genetics tell us that a person with a family history of depression is likely to be more likely to experience depression themselves or at most carry it in their genes. The risk of depression increases with every family member who suffers from the condition or at most carry it in their genes, as some genes are recessive to others, so 10% of the family may express it while 90% of the same family carries it. Genetics can also tell us why some people are more likely to respond positively to certain treatments than others. For example, if you know that a specific medication is helpful to treat your mental health condition, you will know that it's important to get tested to find out if you have the right genes. You may be able to prevent a mental health condition in your children by finding out if they have a risk gene. There are many websites that explore the genetics of mental health. You can also find books about the genetics of mental health, and there are many books that talk about how genes can influence mental health. To learn more about mental health as an individual, a person experiencing mental health issues and a person loving a person with mental health issues, like this video, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can be updated when I post new videos.